Well, guys, welcome to the Metalcast. It's an honor to have Ryan and the hair metal guru both here. Welcome.
Woo! All right. Yeah, all right. There's the fans.
Thanks. This is awesome.
And
great to be back.
Yeah, episode 199. And this is like second to the last episode. I can't believe it. Metal Mike's going into podcasting retirement, but we're heading out into the sunset with some heavy hitters here tonight with us. So I'm excited. Guru, you got a hot video out right now about Poison. Tell everybody about your
it's called Hair Metal Guru. It's been in existence for about a year and a few months. I just published my 100th video.
Woo!
And since you are talking about going into retirement, which I think is entirely premature, and I'm hoping we can keep pulling the Tom Brady with you and just pull you back every year and get a few more episodes because, seriously, you're a big part of the reason that I even started my channel. I'm like, I always, talk about doing music, and I was like, well, shit, I started watching your stuff, and I'm like, damn, that guy is doing what I'd like to do. So I'm like, maybe I can do the same thing. So anyway, I appreciate, all your being a mentor and helping me out as I got going. And I'll be sad to see you sign off.
Well, thanks, brother. Ryan, anything you want to plug? Don't you do metal music or don't you do something? I don't know what the hell you do.
Well, Vic, first of all, I'm saving a little surprise for my Metal Mike farewell. And if I'm so lucky to even make an appearance on episode 200, whether it be for 5 minutes or the whole damn thing, I like to give you a little special sign off. But do a little something with a guy I met online from the East Coast. His name is he does like the 90's Glam Metalcast or something.
90's Glam.
And anyway, yeah, dude, Metalcast, we're burning away. We got another song. Hey, let's just talk about it now. We heard the new Motley Crue song, Canceled, and immediately we said, hey, dude, let's do something that they should have done right now.
That's right.
And we cooked up a song within a day, and we're probably going to put it on the future Metalcast record. So, yeah it's cooking along. It's a real fun project.
That was fun. Yeah, we kind of came up with something that we like. This is what Motley should do. I don't know if it necessarily sounds 100% like Motley Crue because I think anytime you try, like your own stuff just kind of bleeds out. But it'll be a fun track. I'm looking forward to getting that out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, tonight, guys, I enlisted you for Should Have Been a Single because I think there's always that song on an album, and you're like, why didn't they release that? Could the album have been bigger? Like, why did they put that power ballad on the album if they weren't going to make it a single? So there's a lot of things I'm sure we're going to unpack here tonight. We'll get through it all, talk through it, maybe why it didn't happen, or maybe if it did happen, the album would have been a lot bigger. Who knows? I think we should just kick it off. No more hesitation. Get Ryan giving us his number 10.
Oh, cool. All right, man. Well, thanks. I prepped 15, so if we want to throw honorables out there, I got a lot. But anyway, hey, I'm going to start it off with someone I bring up pretty often, and it's Krokus, okay?
No way!
So I know everyone's shocked. All right, so we kind of made a rule. If it's two songs by the same band, we can just kind of lump them as one. And this works well because it's back-to-back albums. I got Ready to Rock off the Blitz. And Lay Me Down off of Alive and Screaming. So the Blitz was an amazing album anyway, full of killer stuff. I guess Ballroom Blitz worked, but I didn't really love it, but it did the job for them. Ready to Rock is a song that probably should have shown up on our happiest, biggest, catchiest episode, but for once I wanted to kind of not talk about Krokus. But if anybody doesn't know that song, if it were recorded by like a Warrant, it would have been huge. It's melodic pop. Lay Me Down is off Alive and Screaming, which is a live album, but it's a new track. It's exactly where Krokus 86 should have been versus Change of Address. It was performed live and never a studio track, so I don't really know the story behind it, but it's an amazing song, and it kind of spoke to the album that you actually do care for, Mike, and that is Heart Attack. It's much more similar to that with an 86 polish, so there's a 2-for-1.
Nice. I'm not familiar with these tracks. Guru, do you know these Krokus songs?
What was the first one you said? You told me that if Warrant had recorded it, what was it called again?
Ready to Rock.
Yeah, so I just listened to that the other day, and yeah, I mean, it's everything you want out of 80s Krokus, and it's got that AC/DC influence. So that one I know for sure, and yeah, I mean, I'm a big Krokus fan as it is.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it's huge, and it's the last song on the album. So, but Lay Me Down too. Don't ignore that one. That's a real cool one. So anyway, that's it for me.
Sweet. All right, Guru, what's your number 10?
Well, so I'm going to tell you my thought process is, number one, I tried not to do too many ballads because everyone knows I love pussy ballads, and it's always easy to say, well, if they would have had it, but I do have some ballads. And so I tried to mix in, some ballads. Some of them had to be rock songs. And I tried to not just go with huge bands. I wanted to get kind of a mixture. So my first one is from an album that came out in 1988, right at the height of hair metal, that I think should have done so much better. The band is Rocks Gang, and the album is called Things You've Never Done Before. And this thing did get a couple of singles, No Easy Way Out and Scratch My Back, both got videos, but there's a song on there called Ball and Chain. And this thing has one of the catchiest choruses I've ever heard. It gives me this kind of old Western feel, like it wouldn't have been out of place on a Bon Jovi album, when they were doing like Wanted, Dead or Alive and things like this. So in the chorus, or in the opening stanza, it says, Judge said guilty, away I went, 99 years in the San Quentin pen, put me to work on this road, gang, give me a hammer and a ball and chain.
Oh, I remember.
Yes, and then when it gets to the chorus, it almost has a nursery rhyme feel.
Yes.
Where it's like singing, Lordy, won't you take me away? Can't stand these chains, not a one more day. Every night get on my knees and pray, Lordy, please come and take me away. Anyway, that'll be the end of me reading lyrics. But this song, it's original. It doesn't sound like anybody else back then. It's super catchy, and when you hear those lyrics, it would have had an epic video if they would have put some money into it, and I think it may have helped that album out. The album did, I think, sell a couple 100,000 copies, but to me it should be one of those big albums that we're talking about from the 80s. Alas, the band is relatively unknown unless you're guys like us.
Ryan, what do you think of that pick?
Do you guys know San Quentin? Have you heard of that prison before?
Yep.
Yeah, because that's a California prison, and that is no joke. So when he drops that line, it's like, oh, that's the last place on earth you want to be. But yeah, good song too.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Guru, because that's a standout for me, and it does have that nursery rhyme thing, Lordy, won't you take me away? Almost like something that would have been on Permanent Vacation or something like that. You know what I mean? I can picture Aerosmith doing something like that. I dig that tune. It's got a cool vibe. I think that would have, it could have done something.
Exactly. And dang it, I love that album, so I just wish more people knew about it.
Yeah. All right, my number 10. Okay, let me start off. It was a song written by Diane Warren, and if you know Diane Warren, she writes the hits, right? This song actually became a hit for somebody else that's not even in metal, and that's Ace of Base. It was released in the 90s, and that song was done by Eyes in 1990, Don't Turn Around.
Don't turn around. I don't want to see my heart breaking. Don't turn around. I don't want you seeing me cry. No, no. Just walk away.
Now this one probably would have been a power ballad. It's got that like pop sensibility. If you know any version of this, you've heard it's been done by, like I said, a couple other people. But when Eyes do it, you got Jeff Scott Soto on vocals. He's got a killer, soulful voice. It's very poppy. It's very powerful, like I said, super catchy power ballad. And it never was released. They were on Curb Records, which I think was mostly known for country music. They released Calling All Girls. They got like the usual deal, like the one single, then they never got another one. And to waste Don't Turn Around and not put that out was a big fail. Ryan, you know this one?
Absolutely. I had a big eyes phase. That album is a big eyes phase. But, you know, Calling All Girls came up at a different time for us, and that song never did it for me. And I remember the video, and it's got that kind of weird, almost extreme reggae-ish riff at the beginning after he says Calling All Girls, you know? And it never really clicked. That's like the one I skip, to be honest. That album is killer, Calling All Girls. But the song you're mentioning, dude, 100%, that should have been the single. Well, maybe single number 2.
Yeah, single number 2. Guru, you know Eyes? I know you got
I
Eyes.
know that song, Calling All Girls, but otherwise, that's all I know.
Okay.
And like I know that name, but it's just a band that I should probably spend some time with them, but I really know nothing about them.
All right. Well, hey, man, you know that's what Metalcast was founded on. It's always educating, exposing people to new tracks. So that's what it's all about.
All right. So what, number 9, right?
Number 9.
All right, number 9. Here's what I got, a random one. I'm talking D-Moles, people. D-Moles.
D-Moles.
And the song is High and Low.
You really got a hold on me. I can't stay, but I can't let go. I'm telling you, babe, I'm a high and low. I don't
Great ballad. I believe they only got 777 out of the singles on the singles front, and that was before album number 2. They kind of pushed. But High and Low could have really tugged on some emotions and been a standout song on MTV, since ballads were kind of all the rage at that point. Very different band, like that Art Deco feel they were doing, like an 80s, like a 40s, 80s glam. And it's just a very different ballad. And this did appear on one of our ballad lists. And High and Low is one of those songs where you're like, man, this is so different and so cool, but still has the 80s ballad charm. So again, if people out there don't know D-Moles or know High and Low, a very good ballad.
You know this one, Guru?
I can't remember that song off the top of my head, and I've actually spent some time with the second D-Moles album lately. I ran across an ad from them in one of the magazines. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna go listen to that. But they have 2 albums, right?
They do, yeah.
Yeah. So the second one is and the song you're talking about is on the first one, correct?
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. So it's been a long time since I listened to that. I don't remember being overly impressed with that album, but I should check out that song because hey, if it's a ballad, I probably like it.
Yeah, dude. It's
you old soft serve, you.
Really cool intro. You might love it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember that one. Maybe I listened to it once we did the ballad episode, but I couldn't hum it for you or anything. I just don't remember it.
Yeah.
All right, Guru, what you got for 9?
Okay, for my number 9, I got a triple play for you. I'll explain here in a second. And this is a band that needed no help back in the day. Okay, but I'm going to help them anyway because they could have used some of my advice. And the band is Poison. And Ryan and I just, in fact, in the Poison episode that I just released on the Hair Metal Guru channel, we ranked our 10 favorite Poison songs, and we both chose very, very highly the opening track and the title track from the Look What the Cat Dragged In album. For some reason, I remember, like, when I was a kid or when I was listening to this stuff, I always thought that was a single. It was, I mean, it still opens every Poison concert. It's one of the heavier songs in the Poison catalog, and I think it's one of the catchier songs. And that's a song that just announces what Poison is. I mean, we're the party, going to go out and screw anything that moves, and we're going to drink, and we're going to get up and do it all over again. And so I'm just shocked that it wasn't a single, and I think it should have been. I still think it's one of Poison's most popular songs, and it never was a single. Then so that's my choice, but I'm also going to throw on Open Up and Say Ah, excuse me, Love on the Rocks should have been the single over Your Mama Don't Dance. I never liked Your Mama Don't Dance. I thought Love on the Rocks, was a fun kind of, sex rocker. It could have been Poison's Cherry Pie in a way. And then on Flesh and Blood, the song Life Love's a Tragedy, I think is super catchy. It's got some amazing lyrics. And again, all these albums did just fine without these songs being singles. But I think, if anything, it would have helped them all do a little bit better than they did.
Don't you think now, like with Spotify and your playlist, that right? I know what you're saying. Look what the Cat Dragged In is on my playlist. It feels like a single. Love on the Rocks. It's just like a song that just pops up all the time. It feels like one of the hits, but it's not.
Yeah.
So,
and they don't play that live. They don't play Love on the Rocks. And shoot, there's so many great songs off Flesh and Blood that don't. And Poison. Ryan and I were talking about this. They seem to play the same 13 songs in concert, and I love Poison, and I think they're great live, but, there's so many songs that they never give a shot, and these are 3 that I think fans really do like, and just never, for some reason, nobody thought that they were single worthy, and I think they should have been.
Yeah. Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, were they on Swallow This Live, Love on the Rocks, and Look What You Can't Touch? I know one of them was, for sure. I'll have to look at that, but dude, I absolutely agree. That was Love on the Rocks and Look What You Can't Touch were my 2. I couldn't make them honorables. I had to make them what would have been 11 and 12. So I kind of did my typical cheating thing and threw those out as 10.1 and 2. You know that, Metal Mike.
I know how you cheat with stuff.
You're used to me. But yeah, so I fully agree.
Okay, my number 9. I'm going with Heaven's Edge. And the song Find Another Way, because I feel like those guys got ripped off. Skin to Skin is a cool song, and it's just one of those ones where, a lot of these bands needed a run, you know what I mean? You have the heavy song for your first song, and then you got your mid-tempo, moody rocker, which is Find Another Way. Super catchy. The sad thing was they were actually filming a video for it, and they were kind of a product of, the first early wave of grunge coming in. They were on the same label as Alice in Chains, and Columbia was just like, screw this, pull the plug, we're going to start pumping money into bands like Alice in Chains. So the video never got finished and never came out. But that song, man, to me, I don't know how that's not a single. I don't know how that's not a hit. That's a great freaking tune.
What was it called again?
Find Another Way.
Oh, yeah. It's been a while since I listened to that album. And so right now I can't hear it off the top of my head, but I do really like that. I do enjoy that album. I just got to refresh my memory on it.
Yeah, I know Ryan's a fan. I know you're a fan of this.
Oh yeah, I know it. And also, when it's cool that you're getting the firsthand account for this, Mike, because you interviewed the guys and they talked about this, and it's something similar might come out in a Britney Fox should have been a single. You guys might talk about, but yeah, it's cool that you got that firsthand account because and I agree. Obviously, it's a really good song and it probably could have some crossover success as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, man, since you're up talking, what's your 8?
All right, so here's where I got Europe. Okay, so we're going to talk about Out of This World. And the song, one of the singles they did release was More Than Meets the Eye. And although a great song, come on, dude. You didn't release just the beginning? It's got one of the catchiest moments in 80s rock history with "You Can Put Me Through Loads of Trouble." That part is so killer, dude. I mean, that's Tempest just spilling his 80s heart out, and it's so perfect, and it's always amazing, and I never turn it off. And then there is Superstitious, which was cool. It's a good song, but probably not for a first single.
No.
And it was a huge budget video. It was just a little too soft and different. I love Open Your Heart, which I think is a reboot from an early album, which they did a really good job of rebooting. Open Your Heart, I think, should have been as massive or more than Carrie. But at that point, Europe was so high with Final Countdown that they would throw out a ballad and it would be immense. So I'm just kind of all-encompassing, like kind of messed up on some single choices on this album, but I really wish they would have done just the beginning.
Yeah. Guru, what do you think of that choice?
Well, I never liked. I mean, I liked Superstitious. You're right. I didn't think it should have been the first single. I haven't listened to that album in forever now, so I can't remember the song that you're talking about. But I always wondered if the Final Countdown, which is a great song and a huge song, but I wonder if it kind of became like the noose around their neck. They could just never escape it, and I mean, like they were a really talented band. They wrote great songs, but it was almost like after the Final Countdown, everybody was like, okay, is this the Final Countdown part 2? No, it's not. Okay, we'll just move on. Yeah. So, the Final Countdown just felt like they could never get past it.
Are you telling me that my best Joey Tempest didn't ring a bell and tell you what Just the Beginning was? I can't believe it.
That was pretty convincing, I'll be honest.
You know what's funny? Like with that, I'm with you. I think Superstitious was a bad choice for the first single. But like with that album, I think you could pick a lot of songs off there, and they would have been great singles. Like you said, Just the Beginning, Sign of the Times. There's so many songs that are so catchy. But I do think there's something, to Guru's point, they just didn't catch people's imagination like they did with the first one. Because they had not really just the Final Countdown. Carrie and Rock the Night are huge too. So, yeah, their singles were just missing that little it factor that they had on the album before it. But I actually like Out of This World better as an album, though.
Yeah, I actually totally agree. I prefer Out of This World. But then when we talk about Rock the Night and Cherokee, and I'm like, do I like it better? I don't know. I mean, I know we're all Prisoners of Paradise fans here, but
of course
we're not talking about that right now. They nailed it on those.
Yep. All right, Guru, what do you got for 8?
Okay, this isn't a band and an album, and Ryan's going to relate. I actually don't remember, Metal Mike, your opinion on it, so when I get to it, let me know. But if there's like 5 albums that I've spent a ton of time on my channel trying to promote, 5 bands, Electric Angels is one, McQueen Street, Lillian Axe I've talked about a ton of times, and another one is Wildside's Under the Influence from 1992. I just worship that album. I've said before, I'll say it again, that I felt like it was the second coming of Appetite for Destruction. It should have blown up like that, but alas, it came out in 1992, and almost anything that came out in 1992 was fucked from the start.
Yep.
I did, the first single, Hang On Lucy, was phenomenal. They did start to make a video for a song called Lad and Sin, but they never got to release a ballad. Their singer actually years later, in like the mid-2000s, actually put together like a video for a song called Just Another Night. And that song, if it can't, when we've said this a million times, if it came out in 1989, it would have blown up. I feel like it's one of the best ballads of the genre, I think. Drew Hanna, their singer, just has a great voice. Brent Woods is their guitar player. I mean, he's played with Sebastian Bach, Vince Neil, everybody. And that song, there's also another ballad on there called Kiss This Love Goodbye that is great. But Just Another Night, it probably wouldn't have done anything in 92, but if that album would have done something, it would have been with the help of a ballad, and I think that's the song that would have done it.
Ryan, you're a fan of this album, aren't you?
Yeah, I worship this album. I actually had this whole spiel as one of mine, and I'll throw it in as an honorable and just dovetail. I won't count it as one of mine, but I couldn't agree more. And just to kind of paint the picture of the lore surrounding this band, they had the momentum. They recorded their album in 5150 Studios at Eddie's house. They had Andy Johns as the producer. They were signed to Capitol Records in 1990. If they could have cranked out this epicness of Under the Influence in 91, they may have still had a chance. Although it came out in 92, my favorite year in metal, by the way, the singles were spot on, I thought, because they did kind of release a few. It was Just Another Night, Hang On Lucy, and How Many Lies, which they unofficially kind of came out. Like, the videos was just Hang On Lucy. But I think they pseudo-released a few more there.
Wait, Just Another Night was a single?
That's what I had read. When I was doing research, I was seeing that Just Another Night, Hang On Lucy, and How Many Lies. But they definitely weren't videos.
Okay.
So they
I never knew. Okay, so if I jack that up, I never heard about and I've tried to read as much about this band as possible. There's, you have some good information there. I knew that stuff, but there's not a big wall of information on, the almighty Wikipedia. So anyway, there wasn't a video. I didn't know it was a single. I knew it wasn't a video, there you go. Yeah, you're the hair metal guru. You really.
I told you, dude. I'm
How
Guru.
could you not have known that? What the hell's wrong with you?
I'm Guru 2.0. Okay,
Yeah,
take your title. And guess what? I'm probably wrong, and I'm probably making it up.
No, I noticed that in a lot of the research that I did is that sometimes, right, it would be a single released to radio, but it was never a video. And I think back then, if you didn't do a video, then it really wasn't a true single in my book.
Right.
So, okay. Oh, my thoughts on this album, man, I just didn't get into it when it was out. And I'm just kind of going back and starting to get into it. So I do like it, but I wasn't into it like when it was out. I kind of had moved on a little bit. So
yeah, I remember you saying it in '92. You were kind of moving on to newer shit and heavier shit, right?
Stuff, yeah, yep. So I missed it, but you know what song I thought would have been a good single by them is it called "Just Walk Away"?
No.
What is it? So Far Away.
Oh, So Far Away.
So Far away.
So Far
yeah.
Away.
So
that was
okay.
good. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool.
That just shows you how big into them I am. But yeah, So Far Away it was a really cool song. So I like that one. That's on my playlist. But anyway,
I think probably any song on that album could have been a single, and I would have been all for it. But
Totally.
all right. Well, I'm up. I got to go with Yngwie Malmsteen.
Now is the time, feeling your heart so close to mine.
Anytime I can talk about Yngwie Malmsteen, I do it. And I'm going with the song Now Is the Time. It's off the album with Joe Lynn Turner. They released probably the most commercial song that they could have, which was Heaven Tonight. But, a lot of times I never was a fan of the one single. You know what I mean? Like, you had to do a your rocker track, your power ballad, and then maybe another rocker. And Yngwie didn't get to do this, basically probably just because he doesn't sell, or the single didn't move or whatever. But if you listen to Now Is the Time with Joe Lynn Turner on there, super catchy, super melodic. Could it have done anything? I don't know, but when you listen to it on the album and it pops up, you're like, man, that should have been a single. So I just had to throw that one out there.
Great choice, dude. Great choice.
I know Ryan's a Yngwie. I've never really, I know Heaven Tonight. I know some of the
same album.
But I never spent much time, and most people know, when it comes to the guys who are really super talented, that always just kind of left me I was like, all right, just give me 3 chords and the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, for sure. All right, you're number 7. What do you got?
Okay, here's where I have Firehouse, and the song is Home Is Where the Heart Is. And although the single choices were great in Don't Treat Me Bad, All She Wrote, and Love of a Lifetime, I mean, how can you deny that one? But capitalize on Love of a Lifetime and get that 4th single, which I think they could have done at this point because it was so massive. It's that perfect mid-tempo transition with Home Is Where the Heart Is from Love of a Lifetime. And this could have been a number 1 for some pop artist at the time. So I think that they could have really capitalized on it. It's kind of like a Hysteria or Love and Affection for Def Leppard. And R.I.P. CJ, by the way.
Yeah. definitely a cool song, and I think a great video if they showed like live clips and backstage clips and visiting different cities and stuff. Yeah, there was some potential there. What do you think, Guru?
Yeah, I like that song, and I kind of, Firehouse was a band that I loved that album when it first came out. For some reason, they haven't aged well for me. I very rarely go back to Firehouse, but you can't deny that, man, for shit, even in 92. I mean, their second album came out in 92 and did fairly well. When I Look Into Your Eyes was a big hit. But, yeah, so that's a good song. I completely agree with what you're saying.
Cool.
Well, brother, Guru, what do you got for 7?
All right. In 1989, some people would say that was the height of the hair metal boom. So many bands had been signed in the previous couple. So many albums came out that year. On my channel, we did rank our top 10 albums of each year. And 89, I was like, holy balls. There is so much to choose from. So Danger Danger was a band that they got some airplay. They were in the magazines. People were talking about them. Bang Bang was a really good single. Shit, my son is 17. He loves that song. Sings that chorus. What was the other single? Was Naughty Naughty was a single? Was there only 2 singles?
Yep.
There was 3.
Anyway.
Don't Walk Away was the 3rd.
But did they do a video for that?
Negative.
See, that's one of those deals. So it's not a true single in my book.
And so sometimes I think Ryan's full of shit. In fact,
we gotta fact check him. Fact check him.
But Ryan is fucking fact checking me left and right and be like, no, that wasn't. So
hey, just call me CNN. I could be fake news.
That's right. That's a good nickname for you, as fake news. I'm just kidding. Because I just was reading, and I think it was Ted Poley was talking about how this album was doing very well, and the label was like, all right, get off the road and start recording album number 2. And for the most of the time it was the labels always wanting the bands to release a ballad. But in this case, the band was saying, hey, we put out a ballad. Let's freaking strike while the iron's hot. And so my song isn't Don't Walk Away. It's One Step from Paradise. And that actually was my prom theme my senior year, and I was the one who recommended it. But I thought that was a great ballad. I thought, the girls would have loved it. It has those sticky, sweet, it's just all a love song lyrics, but it's really catchy. And at least from my knowledge, what the fuck do I know about hair metal, Ryan? Just kidding, Ryan. From my knowledge, there was no ballad released from that album because, at least from what I read in that interview, is that they were pushing for a ballad, but the label said no, go record the album number 2. Well, album number 2 came out at the end of 91, and it was too late. And I liked that album, Screw It, but it didn't have a chance. It was getting right into the grunge time.
Well, I'm going to pull my metal street cred card here. Pull that out. I interviewed Ted Poley. There ain't many more times I'll be able to say this kind of stuff. I interviewed Ted Poley, and he said that they should have had a 3rd single that was a ballad, and that's why that album didn't go platinum. So that's what he said out of his mouth. So fact checking it, baby.
Take that, Ryan.
Yep. And the thing is, that's why I didn't include Danger Danger on here, because of that. And I remember the interview, obviously, because I listened to them all. And I remember thinking, God, he's right. And I was also kind of bummed they didn't do Turn It On or Live It Up, because those are also rippers on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had Feel Like Love, One Step in Paradise.
Yes.
They had options, and it would have catapulted that thing. So I'm probably full of shit.
Yes.
Okay. Here's mine. Anytime I can mention Kiss, I got to mention Kiss. Guru just was talking about this album on Twitter. I think it's got an anniversary, and it's Hot in the Shade. Now, in all intents and purposes, Hot in the Shade didn't do bad. I mean, Forever was a big hit. Hide Your Heart was a minor hit. But if you look at the stickers, Guru, maybe remember this. If you see an old vinyl, and maybe from some of your press clippings that you got there, the third single was supposed to be Read My Body. Okay? But they opted to do Rise to It instead. Now, Read My Body, and I know Ryan's not a huge Kiss guy, but this will all turn back to something that he likes, which is Def Leppard. Read My Body has not aged well, and Read My Body is a ripoff of Pour Some Sugar on Me. So they were trying to do something that was very Def Leppard-y, very in and hip at the time. Once again, not aged very well. You know, Read My Body, are the letters big enough? It's very cheesy. But I think in 89, it would have been a big hit. You know what I mean? It just had that late 80s, corny, catchy, horny vibe, whatever you want to call it. And I think it would have done well. So, Ryan, I don't know if you know this song. Guru, I'd love to hear your thought, both your guys' thoughts.
I don't know it.
Yeah, I know it, and I completely agree. I mean, yeah, like nowadays, are the letters big enough? Are you?
What is he saying?
But you know, I mean, you can say the same thing about Pour Some Sugar on Me lyrics. You know, one lump or two. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But so back then, I mean, this kind of shit was thriving, and yeah, I mean, it's a super catchy song, and that album hasn't really. There was 15 songs on it, but that was one that. You're like, oh, okay, here's the ear nugget. It was entirely too long, though.
Yeah. But I think when I was a kid, when I went through that album, I was like, and hearing it, I was like, that's going to be a single. But never was. So
exactly.
All right. Ryan, what's your next one, buddy?
Well, you know, talked about Krokus. You talked about Yngwie. Now I got to hit Hardline.
Oh, jeez. Hardline. They should have had 10 singles off that first album.
Yeah. They could have just thrown out the whole damn thing. But the song I'm going to talk about is I'll Be There. And if they'd have released this after Hot Cherie, it would have been a really cool transition. Vocal giant of a song, which had that kind of like the Wholehearted by Extreme or the Mr. Big crossover potential. They had the na-na-nas in this song, the big na-na-na chorus and an intro, which always works. I'm a sucker for acoustic rockers like this, like Little Susie, Raise Your Hands to Rock. Unruly Child had a song called Let's Talk About Love. But there's a really cool video of these guys messing around in 92, performing this song live in the studio. And it's a huge talent. Everybody could sing, everybody could play. And they're more or less messing around. And it still sounded like they were amazing. So, "I'll Be There" is a forgotten song that should have been huge.
I don't know that one. Guru, do you know it?
Oh shit, yes, and I love that album. Talk about albums that got screwed over by timing. I mean, shit, the drummer in that band, Dean Castronovo, is in Journey, and he has sang what's the side project that he sings on?
Revolution Saints or no?
Revolution Saints. Okay. He's done. Yeah. So that guy can sing like anyway. That's a great song. There's so many should have been singles on that album. You could damn near pick one. So
right.
Nice. Guru, what's your next one?
Okay. Now I'm going to go to a place, and Ryan, who unfortunately, we're just on audio, so you can't see his shirt, but he is wearing a shirt representing an album that I just love. It's the Britney Fox third album with Tommy Paris on vocals. The album is called Bite Down Hard. I love that album. It died without a whimper. It didn't even make the top 200 on Billboard. But and I know it's pretty easy to do ballads. Not all my shit is going to be ballads. I've already had a couple ballads, and here's one more. They have a ballad on there called "Look My Way." And I just think, holy shit, how was that not on the radio? I mean, Tommy Paris's vocals on that whole album is phenomenal. There's a ton of an almost AC/DC inspired stuff on there. Super catchy. The first album without Dean Davidson, who was their big songwriter, a lot of people weren't expecting much. That's my favorite Britney Fox album. And that song should have been a single, and it should have been a massive hit. Look my way.
Amen. Amen, brother.
I know Ryan likes that one. I'm with you. I just think it was bad timing, but yeah, that one I actually had on my list as well. So, yeah, I'm with you.
Awesome. Yep.
All right, well, my next one is Britney Fox as well. And I was going to do a twofer. I was going to look my way out there. But the album where I feel like the singles were kind of wrong for me was Boys in Heat. I thought Standing in the Shadows was kind of a stupid first single. Dream On is okay, but it's like the same name as an Aerosmith song. And I don't know, just neither of those really did anything for me. At that point, the band imploded and they got in a fight or some bullshit. I don't know what happened. But Angel in My Heart, I'm always swearing by that song. Very poppy, melodic, catchy rock song. I think that would have been a great video, great single. So I've said this a million times, so I'm not gonna dwell on it.
Yeah, but you got the interviewer Billy Childs to back it up, dude. That's the same thing he said.
Yep.
You guys talked about it, and the street cred is there again.
The street cred. Guru, what do you think?
Love that. I love that album. It's a shit album cover and a shit album title, but there's a ton of great songs on there, and that's a rock song that is damn, it's so catchy. There's a few. I love the song In Motion, which is probably the heaviest or fastest song Britney Fox did. Also super catchy, but Angel in My Heart, you're absolutely right. Could have been on the radio back then.
All right, Ryan, what you got next?
Well, here's what I'm going to talk about. Hurricane doing Slave to the Thrill, okay? So my favorite Hurricane album, Next to You, which is amazing, one of the best Hurricane songs of all time. But their second single was Dance Little Sister. Now, I don't know what they were thinking. I know, let me rephrase that. They were thinking about crossover success, but it ain't working. I understand this, but the potential they lost it. So my favorite album, hands down, know it through and through, but I have gone with potentially a ballad called Don't Wanna Dream.
But I wake up alone without you to pull me through my soul to you. I don't wanna dream tonight.
Amazing ballad. The other rocker / kind of mid-tempo, 10,000 Years or Temptation, or another ripper like Next to You is called Rain of Love. So again, you could kind of throw out anything on this album except the one they chose for number 2 in Dance Little Sister. So I think it was kind of a crucial mistake.
Yeah. Guru, what do you think about this song? You know this song?
I'm struggling to remember. I've just in the last year got into that album. I love that ballad, Don't Wanna Dream. Holy shit, like that should have been a hit. So I need to pull it back out because I can't hear that song right now. But that's a great band, and I'm assuming that you're probably correct because the stuff that I remember on that album I really like.
That was the problem I think we've always talked about with Hurricane is that they never released a power ballad. And it's like, you hate to say, every band has to have a power ballad, but if you think of all the big ones, they all had one. And the ones that didn't cross over and make it big, they didn't have one. So I feel like, especially like on 88, late 80s, they should have had a power ballad. So
Totally.
Absolutely.
Guru, what's up for you?
Okay, so now I'm going to get into a bigger band, and I think 1986, in a way, can be credited with the real beginning of hair metal when the look started getting to be big and gargantuan. Poison, a lot. I said the other day that Poison is probably the definitive hair metal band. When somebody says the term hair metal, you probably think of Poison, but damn it, Cinderella was right there at the same time, and their debut album, Night Songs, had massive hits. Shake Me, Somebody Save Me, Nobody's Fool were all hits. But why in the world was the title track, Night Songs, not a single? I have no clue. That may be my favorite song on the album. It's definitely not a ballad, but when it starts, it's kind of like spooky, and you hear this like wintry, blustery sounds going on. Tom Kiefer, the lyrics are great. Tom Kiefer just sounds like almost demonic for a little bit, and I worship that song. And the album it was doing so great. I don't know why they didn't put out another video. Maybe propel that thing to 4 million instead of 3 million. So Night Songs, my number 5.
It's funny you mentioned that it was creepy, because if you go back a couple episodes on the Metalcast, Ryan and I did creepy songs, creepy metal songs, I put Night Songs, and I think you're right. I think it would have been it is a great song. It's one of my favorites, and I think you would have had a kick-ass creepy video if you wanted to for it. Yeah,
Absolutely. The video would have been kick-ass.
What do you think, Ryan?
Totally. Yeah, agreed. I was also thinking In From the Outside to showcase his lower range a little bit, because at that point they could have done like something that would have not been. I mean, Nobody's Fool kind of showcased it as well, but for the majority of that song, he's still up there. Push Push is one of my favorites, but again, that was probably too similar to Somebody Save Me and Shake Me. So Night Songs may have been the call.
Yeah,
I almost threw Take Me Back from On Cold Winter on as well. I think that's a kind of a really catchy song that could have done something at radio. But
all right, Ryan, what's up next for you? Oh, no, it's me. That's me.
On to you.
Okay, I don't know what's going on. All right, well, hey, I went with a big band for my next one, and it's Bon Jovi. Like, they needed help picking singles. I don't know, what am I thinking? But no, this is 1985. So this is for the 7800 Fahrenheit album. And the song that I'm shocked that was not a single, because it feels like a single, like when it comes up in my playlist and everything, is Price of Love. And I think this album really, maybe there was no way for them to break through at this point, and it was just destiny that they broke through at Slippery When Wet. But I think Price of Love is a kick-ass song, and it has that kind of typical Bon Jovi vibe, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a mid-tempo, and real catchy as hell. So I'm surprised that wasn't a single. What do you guys think?
I don't remember it, and I haven't spent a ton of time with 7800 degrees Fahrenheit. Though I do, I hear people say, like, shit, you need to spend some time with the debut and 7800. Bon Jovi has always started at Slippery with me, and that's probably a mistake, so I should go back and check those out.
Ryan?
Yeah, I think we talked about this during our Bon Jovi episode. Maybe one of us dropped the name of the song. It is a good one, and it probably would have been a wise choice at that point. Yeah, they kind of missed the mark on that album, if I recall, but it is kind of a cult/fan favorite.
Definitely. All right, brother, what do you got next?
All right, cool. Here's where I got Van Halen doing Cabo Wabo. And this is more like, I wish the video would have come out. So, yes, would have been an awesome single, but it's got that, get that high class When It's Love, mature 80s color scheme mixed with a little bit of love for Sammy's Mexico, having fun at the beach, tequila, palm trees, shorts and t-shirt, fun thing they had like that vibe they had going. But this song is in my top 3 Van Hagar songs of all time. And I think it would have maybe garnered, you might went to Some More Love. It went multi-platinum, but of the Van Hagar albums, this is the one most people kind of bag on. And this might have been the kind of fun that this album needed to get 4 or 5 times platinum. But yeah, Cabo Wabo's just got such an insane riff, and I love this song. I can picture it now. Just is such a cool video.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you how this song goes. What about you, Guru? You know it?
I think I can hear it in my head. I don't know it very well. I was just going to remark, since we're on Van Halen, that I've been shocked to hear that Alex Van Halen's new book is coming out, and it stops when David Lee Roth leaves the band. He will not talk about the Sammy Hagar years. And I'm like, what in the world happened?
That's weird.
So anyway, I know that's off topic, but that's been on X a lot lately, and I'm like, whoa. And he seems to think that Michael Anthony was not even, like, he said in the early years that Van Halen was like running on 3 wheels. And he mentions him, Dave, and Ed. And I'm like, holy. So I don't know. Is anybody going to pick up that? You going to pick up that book, Mike? Or
Probably not.
I probably will. Anyway.
If they're bagging on Michael Anthony, I'm pretty over it, because I feel like he's the one Crozier secret weapon of that band with those backup vocals. I've heard for years that Eddie had to play the bass lines and Eddie had to tell him what to do, which I don't think is far off, because Eddie was a master. But you cannot deny the backup vocals on every Van Halen to complement Dave and Sammy.
Yep.
His voice was perfect.
And Sammy said that was bullshit.
Absolutely.
That Michael Anthony had to be shown where to put his fingers. Anyway, I know it's off topic. Sorry about that.
He doesn't have the best hair, though.
he's like
again, look at us.
The guy was
no wonder we're not doing video on here. We're just doing audio.
Yeah, but you gotta admit though, man, the guy had been going bald for like 30 years. It's like why don't you just go bald already? You know what I mean?
I know.
Right.
All right, Guru, what you got next, buddy?
Okay, I'm assuming you'll be following me up here, Mike. So at some point, it's Lillian Axe. And there's a ton of singles that you could pick, because the record label always screwed them by really going one single or one video.
Yep.
So I'm going to go with Poetic Justice, the song Dying to Live. Brian from the Hairbend Basement and I, we ranked our top 10 Lillian Axe songs. I said that was my number 1. It's a mid-tempo. The lyrics are amazing. They're so positive and uplifting. Ron Taylor is phenomenal in that song. I'll give an honorable mention to a ballad on Poetic Justice called See You Someday, which was in my top 3. And, we beat the subject to death about Lillian Axe needing more support from the record label, a band that truly deserved much better than they got, and Dying to Live is probably my favorite song from them.
Brian?
Love it. Preach it. Great job.
Yeah, I didn't put any Lillian Axe on my list just because I have beaten the Lillian Axe topic to death. And my pick would be Nobody Knows. I've said it a million times. Like, that should have been a single, but like I just said, no, I love Lillian Axe, but I'm just going to give everybody a break with the Lillian Axe. But I'm glad that you brought them up.
Yep.
All right. Next, I feel like we're skipping Ryan. No, Ryan did Cabo Wabo. Okay, I got to get it together. All right. Okay, here we go.
After me.
Yes, here we go. Vinnie Vincent Invasion, Back on the Street. Okay, this song got done by lots of different people. It came out by John Norum. Kiss kicked it around when Vinnie was in the band. Ace Frehley kicked it around. So many people have kicked this song around. It actually, the first person that I know of that brought it to market, though, was John Norum. But it should have got released with the Vinnie Vincent Invasion album. Boys Are Gonna Rock. It's another one of those one single deals. Great first rocker to show you what you're all about. You know, you're shredding, you're screaming, you're knocking down your equipment and setting it on fire. But you should have came back with that commercially conscious type song. And something like Back on the Streets or maybe No Substitute could have really done something with this album. So, yeah, Vinnie needed more singles.
I don't remember that song right off the top of my head.
Okay, you got to definitely go back because that's a freaking good jam. Ryan, what do you think?
I love it. And now, was that a cover, or was that someone who wrote the song?
Vinnie Vincent wrote it.
Okay.
Yep.
So he could have done it. Got it. Yeah, I love that song, dude. That whole first album is amazing. I was thinking, Do You Want to Make Love is on that one, right?
Yeah.
And that's the one that I was like, dude, that bridge and that chorus is so epic. So that would be one that I would choose.
Just needed more singles. That's the whole. Like I said, that's the thing that always drove me crazy when a record label gave them one single. You're just not going to do it, man, unless you get lucky and you hit it out of the park. A lot of albums just need that momentum of like first single, second single, third single to really to really grow. So, what are you gonna do? All right, Ryan, what do you got next?
Let's go with Shadow King. Okay.
Ooh.
So I just want some more love shown to this album.
Take another piece from this heart of stone. You better love me or leave me alone.
That's kind of it. I don't have a specific song. Nothing comes to mind because they're so legit. But you literally could have put your hand in a hat with all 10 songs written down, pull a title out, and make it a single. And it's a shame the record label kind of folded this band with its encouragement of Lou going back to Foreigner mainly, and then obviously Vivian went into a little-known band called Def Leppard. But Shadow King is one of those bands that you and I, Mike, we preach. Any of them could have been huge. It's just like Hardline, just like Wildside. Every song's great. I just wish it got a little bit more love.
I think what was the song that was the single? Is I Just Want You or something like that, or I Want You, or what is it?
I think it was I Want You, and I think
that's one of the worst songs on the album. I think there's so many good songs, like especially "Danger in the Dance of Love." Like you said, it's all good, and a lot of it's better than what they picked. Guru, do you know this album?
I know that album, and I have that album, and it's, man, so many people talk so glowingly of it. And it just hasn't grabbed me yet. Like, I try to pull it out every now and then. In fact, you guys talking about it, I'm like, okay, when we get done with this, I should probably sit down and listen to it. You know, hearing you talk, oh, man, it's just like the next Hardline. It just has not grabbed me. And I love his voice. I love Foreigner. And I don't know why I'm missing it so far.
Yeah. No, I mean, sometimes it just doesn't connect. That's just the way it is. So, All right, Guru, what do you got next, brother?
Okay. I mentioned their name earlier. This is one of those bands that half the reason I started my channel is I was like, man, there's so many bands that I wish people knew about. And so I was like, I'm going to make some videos and talk about them besides, talking about the heavy hitters, the Poisons and all that. And Electric Angels in 1990 put out there's a self-titled album. They had been bouncing around some of the guys in Electric Angels in a Hollywood band called Candy. They put out an album called Whatever Happened to Fun. That band breaks up. They get a guy named Shane to come in on vocals. Ryan Roxy is their guitar player. He's playing in Alice Cooper now. Jonathan Daniel is their bass player and main songwriter. He's actually like a big producer or a big manager. Like he manages he manages Courtney Love. And he found some like pop punk bands, so he's doing phenomenal. But this Electric Angels album, I think it was on a big label. They got one video for a song called Rattlesnake Kisses. Christina Applegate from frickin' Married with Children is in the video. It's an amazing song that should have hit. There are so many songs on this album that could have been singles, but there's I have two. A ballad called True Love and Other Fairy Tales.
Yeah, we believe in true love and other fairy tales. Our bed of roses has become
is unbelievable. In fact, there's a line in there where shit, now I can't remember it, but Bon Jovi actually borrowed, it's our bed of roses has become a bed of nails. And he borrowed that for a big Bon Jovi song. In fact, he said that if Bon Jovi had been touring when this album came out, he would have asked Electric Angels to open it. Anyway, there's another song called Head Above Water. That's a rock song. Just utterly catchy. It just kills me that I've talked to Shane, the singer, on Facebook, asked him if he wanted to come on the channel and tell me about it, about what happened with the band. And he actually said, he goes, I don't know if I'll ever be ready to sit and talk about Electric Angels. You can tell that he's hurt. Wow. And something obviously happened. But we've chatted a little bit. Seems like a good guy. This album deserves so much better. So True Love and Other Fairy Tales. And part B is Head Above Water. That's my number 3 from Electric Angels.
Nice. Ryan, you know this album?
We just talked about this, Guru and I, and I've neglected it for years. So I don't know it well enough to comment on it.
It's weird because on the last episode that I did on my channel, I think it was Greg that brought this one up. So then I went back because I didn't even remember these guys. I remember the name, but I didn't remember how they sound. And they sounded pretty good, but I'm not at the point where I'm going to be, making lots of comments about them either. So,
I heard them get mentioned on that last episode you guys did.
Yep, definitely.
And, yeah, he's on X, and he's another guy that just loves this album, man.
Okay, next up, I got Winger, and I don't think Winger really needed help with singles, but I think in my book, and I know Ryan's going to agree with me, Guru. I'll get your thoughts. I got a two-parter. Without the Night, I don't know how that wasn't a single. I honestly like that song from the debut way better than Headed for a Heartbreak. I just like Without the Night. I think that's got hit written all over it. They should have did 2 ballads. Some bands did 2 ballads. Why not? You know what I mean? Friggin' make some money. Who cares? Sell your soul. What are you going to do? But then on the next album, this is not really like a ballad. It's a rocker. But I always thought Baptized by Fire is a great song. I don't know. This is great. It's just a great song. Would that have been a hit? I don't know. But I love that crazy Steve Vai type guitar work that he does in the beginning, Red Beach, and then it picks into the song, and then it ends with a rap. I don't know. It's just a cool song. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Okay. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, huge chorus, man. That's a great one. And Without the Night is up there. We talked about it in the Ballads episode. That's such a fantastic song. I can't believe it wasn't a single.
Don't you think sometimes, like, okay, if Winger wasn't going to release it, like, give it to somebody else. Like, Winger can write it, but have some other band record it. Because some bands, they didn't have good power ballads or have, the right song. That's a good frickin' song. Guru, do you like that song?
You know what? I can't remember it right now.
Without the Night, okay.
But you brought up a good point. There's now I don't know who it is, but there's some country song who just hit, or some country singer who had a smash hit with an old 80s song called Fast Car by Tracy Chapman.
Yes.
I look at some of these ballads from these bands, and I'm just shocked that that a country country is where you could find some of these ballads that nobody's done, like Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone by Cinderella, or some of these, or especially some of these unknown ones that they could put it out and people would have been like, I've never heard that song before. There's some amazing ballads, So yeah, I mean, and I just think that's a good point. Like some people should be out there going, hey, let's share some of these songs or use some of these songs that were never hits but could have been. Maybe
somebody can do a country version of Nobody Knows. Nobody knows when you're down and out. Let's get Steve Blaze on the line here. Let's see what we can come up with.
Hey, I'm gonna be talking to him as soon as he gets back from this tour.
All right.
And he's like, we can do 2 hours if you want.
All right, cool. Tell him about the country version of Nobody Knows.
Yes.
All right, Ryan, what do you got next, man?
All right. Do you guys mind if I go back to back? So here's what I got. Silent Rage, okay? So a band that's seldomly talked about that's awesome. Their first album had Make It or Break It and Rebel with a Cause. The band had everything to be huge. Okay, they had Gene Simmons' financial backing, and I know it wasn't always great having Gene in the background. You know what I mean?
It didn't work out for anyone.
No, it could have been a curse. Anyway, good-looking band. Different, amazing songs on Shattered Hearts. Just check out Serena and She Could Shake It.
Serena, she's turning heads with the way she walks. Serena.
So cool and so different. And if those songs could have been singles, it might have taken it off. So, hey, Rebel with a Cause was a really cool song, but they could have capitalized on that thing.
See, I'm not very familiar with the debut, but I'm super familiar with the what is the second one called? Don't Touch Me There or something like that? Or okay.
And I much prefer the debut.
Yeah, see, I think there's a lot of cool songs on that second one that could have been singles, besides what they released. Guru, are you a Silent Rage guy or no?
Nah, I mean, I like that song Rebel with the Cause.
Yeah.
I haven't spent much time with those albums, but they had an album called Don't Touch Me There, and my debut album coming out next week is actually called Do Touch Me There.
Killer.
Nice. All right, Ryan, hit us again with your next one.
All right, thanks, guys. Okay, my last one here, Warrant, okay? Warrant doing the song called Hollywood.
So sweet, and it tastes like a
So, Warrant 92 needed to mix it up. Okay, they had Let It Rain, Machine Gun, and The Bitter Pill. All great songs. Machine Gun and Bitter Pill had some money behind those videos. But then Let It Rain was more or less Janie with a camcorder. The times were ending. But Hollywood would have been that, like, Jane's Addiction-esque 90s crossover without selling out to the 90s. Really great album. My favorite Warrant album in Hollywood could have been what it may have taken to get those guys to remain epic in the 90s.
Nice. I mean, there's a lot of Warrant songs that come to mind. I mean, what's the Andy Warhol was right? I always preach that one, like that should have been a single. But yeah, Warrant's got a ton that would have been hits that were never released.
Yeah, I mean, shit. That's the band that I've beat to death on my channel, and so I'm right with you. I'm right with you on Andy Warhol was right, and I'll be quiet because they might be coming up later on my.
They might be coming up. Well, Ryan, we got to let you go, so we won't get comments from you on ours, but we'll text you and let you know what our last couple ones were. All right, brother.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Awesome episode. Great topic. And I love we're drudging up all this that what should have been. So thank you very much.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right, take care, guys.
All right, see ya.
Bye bye.
All right, Guru, we're down to our last two, man. What do you got? Well, give me your number two.
Okay, and back to I'm going to finish with a ballad, and then I'll finish with a rocker for my number one. But
okay,
for the ballad, I put out an episode on my channel a long time, close to the beginning, about hair metal ballads that should have destroyed the charts. And I had a tie at number one. One of the songs was Lillian Axe's Nobody Knows. And you pumped that song, I pumped that song. And yes, should have been a massive hit. But in 1991, well, as soon as you say 1991, you're like, oh, right, that's getting a little bit late.
Right.
Taiketo put out their debut album, Don't Come Easy, and the Forever Young was a single and a video, and that got a little bit of play. You know, I mean, people heard about it. So the video's got like 4.5 million views on YouTube right now. But there's a ballad on that album called Standing Alone, and that was in my episode tied for number one with Lillian Axe's Nobody Knows. Standing Alone has some of the best lyrics.
Like the day that I was born out on my own, I believe this boy has grown, standing
It's not your usual "Oh babe, I love you," "Oh babe, I miss you." I mean, it's like a song that I think looks deeper into the human condition, you know, and talking about standing alone and facing the world. It's phenomenal. In fact, when the band put out their follow-up album, Strength in Numbers, in 1994, they actually put it on that album as well, and kind of remastered it. And I remember reading an interview where they said so many people loved that song and we thought it deserved another chance. Well, it still didn't get the chance that it deserved, but that is a ballad that since I was in college, whenever people ask me to recommend songs, I'm like, you have to listen to Standing Alone by Taiketo.
I remember Taiketo. I never had the album, and I don't know this song, but I'm going to go back and check it out because it sounds like it's a cool one.
They were definitely more on the pop side of the rock / metal. You know, they could have fit in maybe with your Danger. Phenomenal vocalists, but yeah, they weren't, you know, in 1991, most bands were getting heavier.
Yep.
You know, Skid Row and all that. They were still pretty light, pretty mellow, but they had some phenomenal songs.
My last two are going to be ballads, but my number two, I'm always talking about TNT. I don't know if you're a TNT guy or not, but TNT is another one of those bands that usually got like 1 or 2 videos if they were lucky, and they never got a power ballad. On Tell No Tales, there's a great power ballad called Child's Play. And on Intuition, there's an awesome power ballad that even smokes Child's Play called End of the Line. And why they didn't release these songs, I have no idea. Tony Harnell is an incredible singer. They're an incredible band. Just real tight and just... I don't know, just put together great songs, and why they never got a power ballad, I have no idea. So do you know TNT? You're TNT, right? A little bit, or?
Well, I know TNT. I know Tony Harnell. I know that. What was Everyone's a Star? Is that a TNT song?
That one, and then 10,000 Lovers was the big.
And 10,000.
Well, I wouldn't say it was big, but it was a single.
That 10,000 Lovers song always kind of. I was like, oh, that never grabbed me.
Yep.
So I haven't spent much time with their album, so I don't know that song. What would you say if you were me? What would be the first album that you would recommend I start with?
I would probably listen to Tell No Tales.
Tell No Tales.
That's got those two songs that you know. Everyone's a Star and 10,000 Love. You know those songs, but there's a lot of cool songs on there. But the three that you could dabble with is Tell No Tales, Intuition, and Realized Fantasies. Probably if you want something that's got a little bit more of an edge, go to Realized Fantasies. So
okay, because that's another band that I feel like, but I haven't spent much time with them, and I think part of the reason is that 10,000 Lovers in One I never got into that, so yeah. I was like, I'm not going to bother.
Yeah, killed it for you. All right, man. What's your number one?
Okay, well, I'm going to also go with Warrant, and I know sometimes I'm like, shit, sometimes when I talk about Warrant on my channel, I'm like, I know, I'm sorry, but here they come again. And it gets that way with Lillian Axe. But I'm not going to mention the songs that we already mentioned before. When Warrant put out their greatest hits, and I don't remember what year it was, but they put on a song that was originally a B-side to the Cherry Pie single in 1990. It was called Thin Disguise. It didn't even make the Cherry Pie album. And this is one of my favorite songs by Warrant. And so it got thrown on the greatest hits years later. The lyrics are phenomenal. I'm shocked that they didn't think, like, to me, there's a couple songs, like Train on Cherry Pie is the decent song, but it's a cover. Take that song off and put your original Thin Disguise on it. Then also on Cherry Pie is a song called Mr. Rainmaker. Yep. And man, I very rarely talk to a big Warrant fan who doesn't, revere that song. So I love that song. It's a rock song. It's got a really cool guitar opening riff, and the lyrics are great. It's Janie Lane at the top of his game. So I thought those two could have been singles. I mean, obviously Cherry Pie did well without him. It went double platinum, but great songs that a lot of people talk about really highly when it comes to Warrant.
Thin Disguise is a great song. I do like that one, but Mr. Rainmaker, that's like a head scratcher. How that wasn't a single, I just don't know. Great song.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Deserved, yeah. Should have been.
All right, my number one, man, I'm going with Stryper, and it's from 1985. See, Stryper was ahead of the game on the album Soldiers Under Command. They had a great ballad called First Love.
Tears in the night, filled with pain, you're running from the love that you had before. You cry out for your first love.
And it's kind of what Stryper does. It's basically a song that tells a story about a woman who's wronged by a man, and the first love that she should go back to is Jesus Christ. But it could also be taken as a love song. You know what I mean? That's what Stryper does. It can be taken either way. It can be taken as a Christian song or just as a typical romantic ballad or whatever. And this song, I don't know if you ever heard this song. Go back and check it out. It's way better than Honestly, and Honestly was the ballad the following year that made them huge, and To Hell with the Devil is a huge album by them, sold 1 million copies. But I think if they would have released the ballad in 85, that was the year where the power ballad was kind of getting going. Home Sweet Home, I think Alone Again was released in 85, you know what I mean? So I think First Love by Stryper could have propelled that album to a bigger status, but I went with that one. And they also got a cool ballad on In God We Trust called Lonely. So I'm a Stryper guy. I don't know if you're big into Stryper, but First Love, that would have been a hit in my book.
Yeah, I like Stryper. I never went beyond a casual affair with Stryper. Loved the song To Hell with the Devil. Really liked the ballad, honestly, but I just have not spent a bunch of time with them. I'll even hear their new stuff now. It's surprising how heavy they still are.
Yes. Yep.
The band. They never said, okay, we're going to get older and we're going to get mellow and pop it up. I mean, they still rock pretty hard. So I need to check out that song because right now I can't hear it. Yeah,
and what's cool, that's why that's the beauty of when you even have more people on, bringing up different songs. I'm going to go check out the Taiketo and a couple of the ones that Ryan said. He always brings up Krokus. I don't know if I'll listen to the Krokus, but but no, man, this was a blast. I wish he could have stayed on for the last couple, but I understand how it goes. Sometimes you got to run. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
hey, man, I appreciate you having me on. Again, I'm sad to see you putting an end to it. Yep. I hope that will give you more time to come on the Hair Metal Guru channel.
Yes.
So while I say that, hey, check my channel out and please follow me on X at Hair Metal Guru. Got a bunch of us like you and me and Brian from the Hair Band Basement talking about hair metal and 80s rock, the greatest musical generation of all time.
Yeah.
So me out there, and thank you so much for having me on for this episode. It was a blast.
Yeah, man, it was fun. And yeah, definitely check out Hair Metal Guru. He posts great stuff on Twitter, all the old Kerrang issues and articles and ads. It's great stuff. And obviously your videos. You're pumping out tons of great videos too. So thanks for coming on, brother. Have a good night.
All right, man. You too.
Yeah, have a good one.